Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, celebrity interviews, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. Now celebrating 17 years of broadcasting success, here's your host, Cyrus Webb.
And welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again, both for our radio audience and us tuning in online around the world. Thanks to our friends at iHeartRadio. We're glad you all could be with us as well. Well, definitely 2020 has given us some challenges to deal with. And for many people, they feel like they are kind of at a standstill. They don't really know what to do. And maybe their world has been turned upside down. But our next guest says now is just the time you need to be able to pivot, in particular, to pivot to find your joy. We're real excited to welcome back Dr. Joy Haya to our program. She's going to talk to us not only about the work that she's been able to do, but also her brand new book called Pivot to Find Your Joy, what led her to write it, why now is the time for you to be able to really give yourself a self-evaluation, and, of course, let you guys know how to stay connected with her as well. Dr. Joy, hello to you, and welcome back to the program.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Hey, the pleasure is definitely all mine. Well, look, we're going to get into the book here in a bit, but I want to talk about timing, right? Because, we all have heard that saying that timing is everything. Why did you feel like now was the time, Dr. Joy, to release this particular book?
Well, several reasons. Number one, 2020 it brings to us a new decade, right? And at the start of 2020, it was rocky, Cyrus. Oh my goodness, it was rocky from minute one with the pandemic we have of COVID-19, which is still going on. And really we're in a dual pandemic with all the systemic racism and Black Lives Matter, et cetera. And so I felt that it was time for me to really put the lid on and finish this book. All right, so I didn't come to the title until towards the end, if that makes any sense. I knew that I wanted to incorporate 8 wellness elements, but to really draw my readers in, I needed to let them know a little bit about me with regard to each element, and I found that now was the time.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because this book is not just about changing jobs. This book really is about changing your mindset, changing the way that you look at yourself, the way you look at your body, your nutrition. It really is a holistic approach to life. I mean, talk to us about that, because you are a person, if anyone follows you online, Dr. Joy, they know that you're all about health and wellness. You are about physical fitness. I mean, talk to us about the combination of that with mindset and how that kind of played a part.
Well, first of all, my own quote, a stable mind is the key to total wellness. And that is the reason why the first chapter, mental and emotional wellness, leads. Because the way you think, Cyrus, your thoughts ultimately control your actions and control your results. So if someone says, if they wake up in the morning and the first thing they think, I said think, not say, okay, think is that they're going to have a bad day, chances are they're going to have a bad day, because the thought controls it. Now, in terms of, you mentioned holistic, and I'm glad that you said that. Many people think that I eat well, and I also look good, okay? So it's those two things, the physicality and the nutritional wellness. And you know what? I say that it's right, but it's also a little bit more. The holistic approach talks about 8 wellness elements. So we already talked about nutrition. I mentioned nutrition. I mentioned physicality. First and foremost should be mental and emotional wellness. There's also social wellness, intellectual wellness, financial wellness, environmental wellness, and spiritual wellness. So those 8 wellness elements, when coupled together across the board, you should strike a balance. One should achieve to strike a balance across all 8 wellness elements. Then that's the holistic approach.
Well, you are known, Dr. Joy, for practicing what you preach. So talk to us about the title in relation to yourself, because, again, the title of the book is Pivot to Find Your Joy. How did you find yourself having to make a pivot?
Oh, boy. Cyrus, how much time do we have? Well, first of all, people want to know, is Joy my real name? Yes, it is. At birth, I was given the name of Joy by my parents, and because they said I was a bundle of joy coming into the world. But now, fast forward, okay, I've had to pivot several times throughout my life and throughout my career, and I share those stories within this book. And pivoting is key because you don't want to stay in that place if it's a less than good place. Like, for instance, let me give you an example, if I may. Losing a job, okay? In 2005, and you know this story, Cyrus, so I'm just going to repeat it for the new listeners. In 2005, I was laid off, let go. Some people may say fired. Okay, well, you could throw that in there too. From my corporate job, I was a financial services executive, and on that fateful day in June of 2005, I was let go. At that point, now I had never experienced that before, so it was the first time, okay? But at that point, my world was kind of it was a little shaken. And it was shaken because now I'm about to experience something that I've never experienced before. So what am I going to do next? And at that point, it was the time to pivot. Now, could I have gone back to corporate America? Absolutely. But I was given the opportunity to really explore and work my passion. And then that in itself was a pivot. And so I started to embark in the entrepreneurial journey, or my entrepreneurial journey, in June of 2005, and has since been there. And what are we, 2020? So that's 15 years.
Yeah.
And
I will say
pivot.
this. Yeah, and I'm not to interrupt you there, Dr. Joy, but I wanted to say, I think the thing is, a lot of times people may look at those things as negative. But would you, in hindsight, say that's what you needed for the push to really walk in the fullness of who you were meant to be?
I agree. But again, Cyrus, can I go back? Again,
Sure.
It's all about mindset. It's all about mindset and having a positive mindset. Now, if you ask me the question, did I have any doubt? Yeah, of course, because it's new. Right? It's new. You're going to walk into something that's new, but you have to remain positive, and also you must surround yourself with people that are positive as well. So that means you may pivot away from the group that you were with, because you were all the same. You had similarities. You worked in corporate. You only knew one way, but now you're embarking on a new journey. And some of those folks may have fears, and they may project their fears onto you as you're trying to, say, make a turn. And if it comes across as a fear, and they say, I'm fearful, any negativity, and only you as the person that's hearing it can feel it. If you feel that it's negative, then you need to pivot away from them as well. And I talk about that.
Yeah, so true. And I think, again,
so
that is the yeah, and I think, too, with that mindset, they're able to look at, as we started off this conversation, Dr. Joy, talking about even this year, looking at this year differently. I think one of the biggest things that I've learned, Dr. Joy, and I'm curious as to your thoughts about this in relation to your own experience in this book, is that a lot of times people say, well, you know what, throw 2020 away. It's there's too much going on. We have so much uncertainty. Do you think that if people change their mindset, they might actually help to get their breakthrough?
Yes, I do agree. So let me just tell you, if I can share a little bit about how my 2020 was supposed to go. Okay? My 2020 was supposed to, I was supposed to take, 2 major vacations with my husband. So we were going to explore. Anybody that knows me knows that we love to travel. There's 196 countries in this world, and you know what? I would love to see all of them, but, you know, with time, I'll try to get to as many as I can. But 2020 truncated our international excursions. So I had a choice. Did I want to sulk about it? Yeah, I was a little upset, Cyrus. I'm not going to say that I wasn't, but I decided now instead to maybe go somewhere else. That you know, just put my mind somewhere else. Put my mind to focusing on sharing my story with people, and always say it's gonna change, and we'll be able to travel again. Now, myself and my husband, we actually made lemonade from lemons. I'm not saying that COVID-19 is a good thing. It's not, okay? Dual pandemic is not good at all, but I will say that myself, let me speak for myself personally, that this change was good for me. It was good for Dr. Joy. It made me focus even more on the things that I have and to be grateful for what I have, because, Cyrus, it could always be worse.
Yes.
It could always be worse. So counting my blessings every day, continuing to scribe in my daily gratitude journal, and just enjoy the present moment.
Yeah.
That's what 2020 has given me.
And it can be something that all of our listeners here, Dr. Joy, can be able to experience if they're able to take that first step. I want to say for those who are just tuning in, either on the radio side or online, you're listening to Conversations Live. Dr. Joy is back with us. We're talking with her about her own journey and how it's helped her to be able to make the necessary changes in her life and to thrive. And now she's helping all of you through her new book, Pivot to Find Your Joy. It's out now through our friends at Amazon.com. For those joining us on iHeartRadio, you guys will find the link with this podcast. For those joining us on the radio side, we'll be posting that on our social media as well and remind you of that. So another aspect, and you said this actually in sharing your own journey, Dr. Joy, and we definitely want to make sure we get into this as well, because one of the things people think about because of this year are finances. We have not discussed that. You do get into that in the book as well. And I think it's so interesting, though, as I was even prepping for this segment, how finances can have an impact on our emotional health, on our mindset, and so many other things. So do you still say for people who are saying, okay, yeah, but this has been, not only are we dealing with the pandemic and all this injustice and all this, but what about my job? What about, the things that I was counting on? Those things are gone. What do you say to them, Dr. Joy, about how mindset can help them even in that area?
Okay, so with regards to finances and the job, Cyrus, you can't cry over spilt milk. It happened.
Yeah.
So, and I feel for everybody that has had to make a shift when it comes to their employment. So don't get me wrong. I feel your pain, but guess what? You can overcome that. You can overcome that by thinking positively. Get a sheet of paper and something to write with. Pencil, pen, crayon, I don't care. Write down some of your goals. Write down now your financial goals. And when you have them in front of you, that helps you create a roadmap or a path to get to those goals. I mean, that's on a very high level, Cyrus. But with regards to finance, one thing is that one piece of advice is to live below your means. Okay? Take your income, your revenue that's coming in, take 28% off the top. That's going to Uncle Sam. Save first. Okay? If you can save first before you take the 28% off, that's great. Or after they remove the taxes, then you save. Pay yourself first. I don't care how little or how much you save, whether it's $5 a week, $20 a week, $200 a week, $1,000 a month, whatever it is, save first. And then whatever is left, that's where you pay your bills. Okay? So the key point is to always save first. Now, Another thing that I talked about in the book, Cyrus, was how we managed to stay afloat during the recession. And I'm sure all of your listeners remember when that started. I saw that it started in 2007 because I had a storefront business, all right? So, but during that time, I went to an old mindset back in the day that my parents used, envelopes of cash. And I would have my envelopes, I would get my cash and have my envelopes and write on the envelope what I'm using the cash for that particular time, whether it was 2 weeks, whether it was a month. And you know what, Cyrus? Cash is king, cash is queen. And when you use cash in a tough situation, that forces you to really think about how to spend it.
Yeah.
Okay? Do I need this particular thing? Can I afford this thing? I want this thing, but do I need it? Can I afford it? And then if you say, yeah, okay, you use your cash, and then once the cash is gone, then now you have to refill the envelopes. So that has, that mindset of using cash and not really, using the credit card. Now, if you need to use it for an emergency point of view, like for an emergency situation, I get that. But if it's, okay, well, I'm going to go out to dinner with my friends, and then I'm going to go out to dinner again, and I'm going to go out to dinner again. Maybe you go out to dinner once, and maybe say, you know what, I have to catch you next time. So use the cash, and then have the credit card as the backup. Yeah. But the key point is always save. Save first. Yeah. And then that forces you to readjust or pivot your expenses.
And I think, again, it goes back again, as you were saying, Dr. Joy, it goes to mindset, because even this, they have to make up their mind that they're going to do it. And I think, too, one of the things I've seen, and we haven't talked much about this, but to me, this has been a big fail for a lot of people, Dr. Joy, and I don't want to put you on the spot on getting your opinion about this, but time management. For these people who I've seen online talking about they don't know what to do, yet they're playing Candy Crush, and they're wasting all this time online doing things when they could be working on their business, could be working on how they're going to prioritize. I think, to me, that time, I even saw so many people, Dr. Joe, I'm sure you saw this too, saying they couldn't wait for things to get back to normal. They were waiting for things. And I'm thinking to myself, you're waiting? I mean, how,
how is
that going to work?
Yes, Cyrus, first of all, this is our normal. Our present is our normal.
Yeah.
At this point, okay? We're not going back.
Yeah.
Once time passes, you can't get back time. And one of the things, if I could touch back on finances, I would like all of your listeners to write down their skills. Write them down. And then figure out how you can utilize your skills and hustle. Many of us hustle. Now, entrepreneurs, they do because that's their mindset, right? And even if you are an intrapreneur, meaning that you are working for somebody else, but you still are, whatever that job is, you're working it like it's your business, that's a great thing. But I encourage people to write down their skills and figure out a way to how they can use their skills to make more money and to put them in a better financial position. Yeah. Many of us would call it a side hustle. You could call it that if you want, but call it something that is going to help you financially.
Such a powerful thing. So much great information in a book that is easy to read, but definitely I encourage people to take the time to digest. Again, the book is called Pivot to Find Your Joy, written by Dr. Joy. She's been back with us, talking with us not only about her own personal story, which she shares in the book, but also gives you actionable things that you can be able to do. In less than 200 pages, this is a great opportunity for you to be able to invest in yourself, to take out the time to be able to see how you can, starting with your mindset, be able to shift things in your life for your favor. Again, I encourage you guys to head over to Amazon.com and get it for yourself. Again, through those joining us online through iHeartRadio, you guys can find the link with this podcast. For those joining us via the radio show in Mississippi, as well as on our other affiliates, you guys can be able to find it, of course, on our social media posts. And Dr. Joy, how can they stay connected with you?
Oh, well, I'm on IG, Instagram, Dr. Joy Ohaya, all together, my entire name. Twitter is at Dr. Joy O. And on Facebook, I have 2 pages, the fan page and my personal page, Dr. Joy. And Your Prescription for Total Wellness is the fan page.
Okay. Dr. Joy, always a pleasure being able to catch up with you. Thank you so much for the time, and looking forward to our next conversation together.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much, Cyrus. My pleasure.
Hey, definitely a joy for us, and we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying, as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live today. Let's make today amazing. Take care.